Today we'll be covering video 1 of 3-part PPL split, and in particular we'll be covering leg day. Now this will be simple for you to follow, especially if you're a beginner. And starting off with leg day, which is exactly what we'll be covering in depth in this particular video, we'll be covering all the reps, sets, fitting in cardio, and how to use mind-muscle connection to actually get the most out of your workout. Okay, as we're kicking things off with leg day, you want to make sure that you start with adequate warm-up, because essentially you definitely don't want to skip that. Generally depends on you as to which dynamic warm-up exercises you prefer to do, but I personally prefer walking on a treadmill or cycling for about 5 minutes. Now the next thing I do is actually jump into some mobility stretches before I actually start with my actual first warm-up on the actual compound exercise that I'll be starting off with. In this case, the leg press. Now we'll be doing this through a pyramid warm-up, and the first actual warm-up will be on the actual exercise with no weight whatsoever. These warm-up sets on the actual compound exercise you'll be starting off with are crucial in helping you remember the dynamics of the movement on a muscular level. In this manner, before jumping into our actual working set, with our working set I'll be actually hitting 4 sets of 15 reps, making sure that I go low enough without actually tilting my pelvic or pelvis or pelvic area, whatsoever it's called, to keep the tension on my quads and not lower back. Now, next exercise, the Romanian deadlift. Now, this exercise is actually good and has been proven by multiple studies due to the fact that there's a good emphasis on your hamstring stretch under such compound loads, actually targeting the hamstring. Now here, again with a weight that's not too heavy, form the first set. And now this is not necessarily a warm-up set, this is just a set that will remind you again of the mechanics of the movement on a muscular level, hence the weight is just simply light. Then after that, add more weight for your working set. Now this will be 3 sets of 12 reps. Now notice how throughout the exercise I maintain my eyes forward and chest out. This is just simply to make sure that I don't end up rounding my lower back. So generally you want to go low enough but not too low, just low enough until you feel that going any lower than that will actually tilt your pelvis or pelvic. Okay, next exercise, we're moving over to the leg extension. Now this exercise fires up all of your quad muscles, and this is actually an exercise that includes your rectus femoris, unlike the leg press. Well, due to the fact that your rectus femoris is the only head that actually connects to your hip and knees. Now I actually tend to feel the burn more on this exercise after the more taxing quad exercises. It's more like a cherry on top from the heavier, more compound quad exercises. Now again, the further back the seat positioning on this exercise, the more emphasis you put ultimately on the rectus femoris. Now here you'll be targeting 3 sets of 15. Now since this is actually an exercise that does not require much overloading, just to be on the safe side, but more of a high rep range exercise. And this is due to the fact that there's so much shear force involved onto your knees. Unless if you spent the whole week trying to split your legs in half, it's safer that way. Now on the last rep, you want to incorporate a drop set of 20 reps twice. Now again, going back to your hamstrings, my personal favorite, the seated leg curl over the lying leg curl. In fact, a 2021 study where a group of individuals were actually training one leg on a seated hamstring position and the other leg in a prone position over the course of 12 weeks. Now the results actually found that there was actually more muscle growth on the leg that was trained in a seated position. Obviously this doesn't completely rule out the lying leg curl. You can still do this exercise according to your preferences, but on this particular exercise you're looking for 3 sets of 15 reps, then drop to 15 reps lightweight. The drop should be about 20% of your actual working weight, and you do this throughout the entire 3 sets. Okay, now we're moving over to standing calf raises for your calf training, and again we're looking for 4 sets of 15 reps. Generally, since your calves are not such a huge muscle group, well, even though mine still clearly need a lot of work, quite small there, aren't we? Then there's no need to rest too long. The muscle recovery is fairly quick, hence we'll be looking at 4 sets instead of 3. Now wrapping it up with a ab workout, we're actually now looking at declined plate loaded crunches. Well, it doesn't have to be a plate, just any load that's fairly comfortable. We're hitting 3 sets of 10 reps with a loaded plate, and then followed by another 10 reps without any load. Now notice how I pause and twist towards the sides at the top of the movement. This is actually intentional because I'm putting more emphasis on the obliques. Now, covering mind-muscle connection. First, let's hear what science says to further have a clear understanding of what it actually means. Because it's not merely your mind just daydreaming about your muscles during training. Looking at this 15-year review that covered attentional focus, clearly showing the results concerning stability, balance, force production, and so forth, clearly shows that the external focus, which is when you intentionally focusing on the proper technique of the exercise rather than the movement of the muscle itself, beats internal focus. But does this sideline focusing on the muscle itself, like intentionally curling your pinkies, get a better squeeze? Absolutely not. And for some more annoyingly bombarding literature, although very necessary, as clearly stated by the outcomes on the study made by Dr. Schoenfeld's lab, generally even so, you just want to focus on external focus during this session, since external focus rather than internal focus has proven to be more efficient and optimal in this particular case, that is during your leg training. I'll dive deeper as to when you should use internal focus throughout this training series. Okay, that's it. Do subscribe if you haven't and found this video quite helpful. I'll see you on the upcoming videos.